Growing up, I was always the dumb one in my family. No matter what I did, it wasn't enough. Grades were never high enough, ideas never impressive enough, and achievements never worth celebrating. At family gatherings, my parents would whisper in front of relatives, "She's smart in her own way, but let's be honest, she's not like her sister." I learned to laugh it off, to nod, to agree silently, to blend in, to accept the label. Even when I worked hard, even when I stayed late at college or took on side projects to build my future, they mocked me. Why bother? You'll never make it big. For years, I believed them. Sometimes, late at night, I would wonder if maybe they were right. I moved out after college, quietly taking my savings and a small apartment. I didn't announce it. I just started building my own life, bit by bit, day by day. I learned about investing, about startups, about small opportunities that could grow. I read every book I could find about business, finance, and personal growth. People outside my family noticed. Teachers, colleagues, mentors. They praised my work ethic, my ideas, my clarity of thought. But at home, I was still the dumb one. Years went by. I stayed patient. I worked silently. I didn't argue. I didn't need their approval. Then one day, everything changed. I received a bank notification. A check had been deposited into my account. $47 million. I stared at the screen, thinking it must be a mistake. I called the bank, verified it, triple-checked. It was real. A startup I had invested in years ago had been acquired. The payout was enormous, life-changing. The irony hit me. The parents who mocked me, who said I'd never amount to anything, who whispered to everyone that I was slow and dim, all of it had been shattered by a single number. I didn't announce it immediately. I didn't post on social media. I wanted to see their reaction firsthand. The next time I visited home, they were sitting in the living room, casually drinking tea. I handed them an envelope. "Open it," I said calmly. My father's hands trembled. My mother froze. My sister peeked over, curious. Inside was the check. $47 million. My father's face went pale. My mother's mouth opened, but no words came out. My sister's eyes widened. I just smiled. "You always thought I was dumb," I said quietly. "Turns out I was just underestimated." Silence filled the room. For once, they had nothing to say. No mocking, no excuses, no attempts to explain, just quiet, and the realization that the child they dismissed had outgrown every expectation and every insult. For the first time in my life, I didn't need to defend myself. The proof was right there, in black and white. They had mocked me for years, but a single number had rewritten the story. I had the last word, silently, permanently. After handing them the check, I didn't rush to gloat. I didn't scream or demand apologies. I didn't post anything online. I let the silence speak. My parents sat frozen. My sister's curiosity was mixed with disbelief. The living room, once filled with casual mockery, now felt heavy with tension. I began explaining calmly. "This is from the acquisition of the company I invested in years ago. It grew quietly while I focused on learning, working, and making smart decisions. You told me I was dumb. Now, you can see the result." They tried to respond. My father stammered. "But we thought how?" I smiled. "You underestimated me. Not just me, but my decisions, my patience, my ability to learn." My mother's hands trembled slightly as she set down her teacup. "We didn't know." I nodded. "Exactly. You didn't know. And that's because you didn't take me seriously. You mocked me, doubted me, dismissed my ideas. And yet here we are." My sister, who had always enjoyed pointing out my mistakes, looked like she wanted to say something snide, but no words came. The evidence in her hands was too undeniable. Over the next few days, the shift became obvious. Relatives called, curious about what had happened. Friends reached out, congratulating me. But at home, my parents' behavior changed subtly. They no longer commented on my intelligence in a dismissive way. They no longer whispered about my failures. I didn't let it go to my head. I kept my routines, my investments, and my projects going quietly, but I observed them. The way they tried to normalize their shock. The way they smiled politely instead of teasing. Weeks later, my father attempted to assert authority again. "We still raised you. Don't forget that." I replied gently, "I don't forget, and I appreciate what you did. But raising me doesn't entitle you to diminish me or doubt my abilities. That part is mine to prove." He paused. It was clear he didn't know how to respond. My calmness, combined with the undeniable proof of the check, had left him speechless. My mother approached me one evening, softly. "We were wrong," she admitted. "We mocked you, doubted you. I see now we underestimated everything you've done." I smiled, but I didn't gloat. "It's fine. You can see it now. That's what matters." She hesitated. "Does it hurt?" "Not anymore," I said. "It hurt when I believed your words. But not now. Now, I just focus on what I've built." In the following months, my parents tried to adjust. They were careful with their words. No more sarcastic remarks. No more comparisons to my sister. It wasn't that they suddenly understood. It was that reality had forced their respect. My sister, initially envious, began asking questions about my strategies, my projects, my decisions. I answered, calmly sharing what I had learned over the years without boasting. She began to see that success is often quiet, deliberate, and patient. For me, the lesson wasn't just about proving them wrong. It was about reclaiming my sense of self-worth. I had tolerated mockery for years, doubted myself at times, but I never stopped learning, planning, or believing in my abilities. The $47 million check was more than money. It was validation, not for me alone, but for the years of hard work, study, and focus that no one at home had acknowledged. And silently, I realized that proving them wrong didn't require anger, confrontation, or dramatics. It only required me to keep building, keep learning, and keep believing in myself. By the time the initial shock faded, I had something far more valuable than money. Independence, confidence, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that the person they underestimated the most had become the one in control of her destiny. From that day on, every glance of disbelief, every whispered comment, every sarcastic remark was met with calm certainty. I no longer needed approval. I no longer needed their praise. Their mockery had lost all power. The lesson was clear. Sometimes the most effective way to silence doubt is with success so undeniable it speaks for itself. And that's exactly what I did. Months later, my parents still struggled to hide their shock. No more mockery, no more whispers. I didn't gloat or confront them. The $47 million check had done the talking. I had been underestimated for years, but now my success spoke louder than any words ever could.